The great council chamber of Velthara Prime was filled with worried voices. Representatives from across the galaxy sat in their special seats, each designed for their unique bodies. Some floated in water tanks, others perched on low-gravity platforms, and a few rested in climate-controlled pods. The year was 2287, and for the first time in 1,000 years, the Galactic Council faced a real threat. High Magistrate Thur raised his forearms for silence. His insect-like body clicked and hummed as he spoke through his translator. The Kravik swarm has destroyed 3 more colonies. Our people are dying. We have no time left. A hologram flickered to life in the center of the chamber. It showed burning cities and fleeing crowds. The peaceful species of the galaxy had no weapons to fight back. They had lived without war for so long that they had forgotten how to defend themselves. Councillor Velm, a tall bird-like creature with silver feathers, stood on his platform. We must negotiate. The Kravik can be reasoned with. Violence is not the answer. They have ignored every message we sent, Thur replied, his voice heavy with despair. They do not want to talk. They only want to take. The chamber erupted in panicked discussion. Some suggested hiding. Others talked about abandoning the outer colonies. No one had a real solution. The peaceful civilizations that had built a perfect society now faced extinction. Ambassador Hana Rin sat quietly in her section, watching the chaos unfold. She was human, and her presence in the council still made many uncomfortable. Humans had joined the galactic community only 30 years ago, and most species still did not trust them. Earth was classified as a Class 12 death world, a planet so dangerous that most aliens could not survive there for even an hour. Hana stood up slowly. Her simple movement caused several nearby counselors to lean away nervously. The human fleet can help, she said clearly. The chamber went silent. Every eye, sensor, and visual organ turned toward her. Absolutely not. Velm squawked, his feathers ruffling in distress. Humans are dangerous. Your species comes from a world of death and violence. We cannot invite such brutality into our space. Hana kept her face calm, though she had heard these words many times before. The Kravik are already bringing brutality to your space. We are offering to stop them. Your people wage war on each other, another counselor shouted. You have weapons that can destroy entire planets. You come from a world where everything wants to kill you. How can we trust you? Everything. Well, 200 plast. Because we are here offering to help, not to conquer, Hannah replied. Yes, Earth is a harsh world. Yes, humans know how to fight. But we also know the value of peace. We have seen too much war in our history. We do not want others to suffer as we once did. High Magistrate Thur looked at the distress reports flooding his screen. More colonies were going dark every hour. What would your fleet do, Ambassador? Captain Hante commands our 3rd Fleet. It consists of 30 warships and support vessels. They can reach the outer colonies in 1 week. They will engage the Kravik and drive them back. 30 ships? Velm laughed bitterly. The Kravik have hundreds. Hana's eyes hardened slightly. You do not understand what human ships can do. You have never needed to build warships, so you do not know what is possible. Our vessels are different. Another counselor, a floating jellyfish-like being, pulsed with concern. We have seen your military records. Your ships can withstand forces that would crush our vessels. Your soldiers operate in conditions that would kill us instantly. You are Deathworlders. We fear what you might become if we allow your military into our space. Then you will die peacefully, Hana said bluntly. The Kravik will not stop. They will take everything. You can fear us, or you can accept our help. Choose quickly. Because people are dying while we debate. The chamber erupted again. Half the council argued for accepting human aid. The other half insisted it was too dangerous. High Magistrate Thur listened to everyone, his compound eyes processing information rapidly. Finally, he struck his speaking staff against the floor. The sound echoed through the chamber. Enough. I make this decision. Ambassador Hana Rin, your fleet is authorized to engage the Kravik. Save our people. Remember, we're Kravik, Velm protested loudly. But Thur would not change his mind. We face extinction, Counselor. I would rather take the risk with humans than die with certainty. From the Kravik, Hana bowed respectfully to the magistrate. I will contact our fleet immediately. Captain Han Te will not fail you. As she left the chamber, Hana heard the whispers and frightened murmurs. She understood their fear. Humans were different, stronger, more aggressive than any species in the Council, but they were also protectors. Earth had taught humanity to be strong. History had taught them to be kind. Now, they would prove both. In orbit above Velthara Prime, the communication relay activated. The message traveled through quantum channels across the galaxy, reaching the human fleet at the edge of explored space. Captain Han Te received the orders in his command chair aboard the UNS Indomitable. All ships, he announced to his fleet. We have our mission. The outer colonies need us. Prepare for combat jump. We show them what Earth sends when friends call for help. The 30 human warships turned as one, their dark hulls gleaming under distant stars. Inside each vessel, crews moved to battle stations. They had trained for this. They were ready. The galaxy was about to learn what happened when Deathworlders went to war. The colony world of Nexara burned under constant bombardment. Millions of refugees huddled in underground shelters while the Kravik fleet hammered their shields from orbit. Prefect Ilian, the colony's leader, watched the failing energy readings with growing horror. They had perhaps 6 hours before the shields collapsed completely. Any response from the Galactic Council? He asked weakly. His species was not built for stress. The low-gravity environment of Nexara, once peaceful and comfortable, now felt like a trap. Nothing, his aide replied. Then the sensors screamed. Ships were dropping out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. Ilian's heart sank. More Kravik. This was the end. But his sensor operator made a confused sound. Prefect, these signatures are wrong. These are not Kravik vessels. The main screen flickered to life, showing 30 ships emerging from the darkness of space. They were nothing like the sleek, elegant vessels of the Galactic Council. These ships were brutal in their design. Dark, angular hulls covered in thick armor plating. Weapon ports bristled along every surface. They looked like they were built for one purpose only: war. What are they? Ilian whispered, scanning now. Prefect, those are human ships. Earth has sent their fleet. Fear and hope mixed in Ilian's chest. Everyone had heard stories about the humans. They were Deathworlders, beings from a nightmare planet, strong enough to crush bones with their bare hands, tough enough to survive in environments that would kill most species instantly, aggressive and violent by nature. But they were here to help, weren't they? Aboard the UNS Indomitable, Captain Han Te studied the tactical display. The Kravik fleet was large, nearly 100 ships surrounding Nexara, like predators, circling wounded prey. His own fleet numbered only 30. The odds did not concern him. Commander Sol Yuna, analysis, Han Te said calmly. His tactical officer worked at her station, her fingers moving quickly across the controls. The ship's gravity was set to 1, 2 G, standard for human vessels. It made the crew stronger and kept them ready for anything. The Kravik are using a blockade formation. They have heavy weapons but weak armor. Their ships are fast, but not maneuverable. They rely on numbers. Recommendations? Sol Yuna smiled slightly. It was not a kind smile. Breakthrough assault. Hit their center hard. Scatter their formation. Then hunting pattern to eliminate stragglers. Standard, aggressive doctrine. Approved. All ships. Battle formation Alpha. Prepare for high-G combat maneuvers. Throughout the human fleet, crew members secured themselves. They checked their safety harnesses and took deep breaths. What was about to happen would be brutal, but they were ready. On Nexara's surface, Prefect Ilian received an incoming communication. A human face appeared on his screen. It was Captain Han Te. Prefect Ilian. This is Captain Han Te of the United Nations ship Indomitable. We are here to help. Please keep your people in the shelters. This will be over soon. Ilian stared at the human. Han Te looked calm, almost relaxed. His species was known for their emotional control in combat. Captain, there are nearly 100 enemy ships. How can you possibly? We know what we are doing, Prefect. Humanity has been fighting since before we left our caves. Trust us. The communication ended. Ilian watched his sensors as the human fleet began to move. What he saw made no sense. The human ships accelerated directly toward the Kravik fleet. They were not being careful or tactical. They were charging straight into the enemy formation. The acceleration rates were impossible. No living being could survive such forces. But humans could. Humans had evolved on a high-gravity world where acceleration like this was part of their daily life. Inside each ship, crew members experienced 8G of force, their bodies pressed into their seats. For them, it was uncomfortable, but manageable. For any other species in the galaxy, it would have been instant death. The Kravik commander, Warlord Krathax, watched the approaching human ships with amusement. He growled to his crew. They rushed to their deaths. Focus all fire on the lead vessels. Crush them. The Kravik fleet opened fire. Energy weapons and missiles filled the space between the two fleets. Explosions bloomed like deadly flowers. The human ships flew through the firestorm without slowing down. Krathax's amusement died. His weapons were hitting the human vessels. He could see the impacts. But the armor held. The human ships had been built on a world constantly bombarded by radiation, meteors, and solar storms. Their hulls were designed to withstand Earth's harsh environment. Kravik weapons, designed to fight peaceful species with thin hulls, barely scratched the surface. Then the human fleet fired back. Railguns unleashed solid projectiles at incredible speeds. Missiles with advanced targeting systems locked onto Kravik vessels. The weapons were designed to fight in Earth's chaotic environment, where electronic warfare and interference were constant. They did not miss. Kravik ships began to explode. What is happening? Krathax roared. How are they so strong? His tactical officer's voice shook with fear. Commander, their weapons are too powerful. Their armor is too thick. We cannot hurt them, but they are destroying us. The human fleet smashed through the center of the Kravik formation like a hammer through glass. Ships scattered in panic. The tight blockade fell apart. Now the hunting began. Commander Sol Yuna's voice filled the fleet communication channel. The human warships split into smaller groups, each chasing down fleeing Kravik vessels. The Deathworlders moved through space with confidence and deadly precision. Every shot found its target. Every maneuver was calculated. On Nexara, Prefect Ilian watched in stunned silence. The battle that was supposed to be humanity's doom had turned into a massacre. In less than 2 hours, half the Kravik fleet was destroyed or disabled. The rest were fleeing at maximum speed. Lieutenant Kyo Wu prepared his Marines for drop. Listen up, he told his troops. There are still Kravik ground forces on Nexara. The locals need our help. Remember your training. Protect the innocent. Eliminate the threat. The Marines, wearing armor that weighed more than most aliens could lift, prepared for deployment. They checked their weapons and said quiet prayers. Then they dropped toward the planet's surface like falling angels of war. The galaxy was learning. When humans fought, they did not simply win. They dominated. The drop pods hit Nexara's surface like meteors. Lieutenant Kyo Wu was the first out of his pod, his armored boots crunching on the alien soil. Around him, his Marines spread out in perfect formation. They had trained for this kind of operation countless times. Nexara's gravity was only 0.7 g, much lighter than Earth's standard 1 g. To the human Marines, it felt like they were floating. They could jump higher, move faster, and carry heavier loads than they ever could at home. It gave them an advantage that the enemy could not match. Contact! 300 meters. One Marine called out. Kyo Wu's helmet display showed red markers. Kravik ground troops were advancing toward a refugee shelter. Move to intercept. Protect the civilians. Go. The Marines launched forward, covering ground at incredible speed. The Kravik soldiers saw them coming and opened fire. Energy bolts filled the air, but human armor was thick and strong. The shots bounced off or burned shallow marks into the plating. The Kravik had terrorized peaceful species for months. They were used to enemies who ran or hid. They were not ready for enemies who charged directly at them. Kyo Wu fired his rifle in controlled bursts. Each shot was precise. Each shot found a target. His Marines moved like dancers of death, their training and natural abilities combining into something beautiful and terrible. The Kravik line broke in minutes. Inside the refugee shelter, Nexaran civilians huddled together in fear. They had heard the sounds of battle outside, the explosions and weapons fire. Then, silence fell. The shelter door opened. A massive figure stood in the doorway, backlit by the dim light outside. It was a human Marine, still in full combat armor. The refugees gasped and pressed back against the walls. Private Mira Day removed her helmet slowly. Her face was young, tired, and kind. "It's okay," she said gently. "You're safe now. We're here to help." An elderly Nexaran approached carefully. You are human? A Deathworlder?" "Yes," Mira replied. "But we're also medics, engineers, and protectors. Let me check if anyone is injured." She knelt down next to a wounded civilian, her armored hands moving with surprising delicacy. The same hands that had crushed Kravik weapons moments ago now bandaged wounds with gentle care. The refugees watched in amazement. "How can you be so strong yet so gentle?" the elderly Nexaran asked. Mira looked up and smiled sadly. "Our world taught us to be strong. Our history taught us to be kind. We know what war does to innocent people. We will not let that happen to you. Our world taught us World 1. Click. On Potty 5. Above the planet, the space battle was ending. Warlord Krathax watched his fleet dissolve around him. More than half his ships were destroyed. The rest were retreating in disorder. His invasion force, which had seemed unstoppable against peaceful aliens, had been crushed in less than 18 hours. "How?" he kept repeating. "How can they be so powerful?" His remaining tactical officer brought up data on the humans. "Lord, they come from a world called Earth. Class 12. Death world. High gravity. Dangerous atmosphere. Extreme weather. Thousands of predator species. Their entire evolution was a fight for survival. They are not like us. They are not like anyone." Krathax stared at the images of Earth. Massive storms that could destroy cities. Earthquakes that split the ground. Volcanoes that blocked out the sun. And in that nightmare, humans had not just survived. They had thrived. They had built civilizations. They had reached the stars. "What have we awakened?" he whispered. Captain Han Te stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, watching the last Kravik ships jump to faster-than-light travel. They were running, broken, and beaten. His fleet had not lost a single ship. A few were damaged, but all were operational. "Commander Sol Yuna, casualty report," he ordered. 17 injured, none seriously. No deaths. The armor held perfectly. Han Te nodded. Human engineering, built to survive Earth's wrath, had proven more than adequate against alien weapons. "Send medical teams to the surface. Coordinate with the locals. I want every refugee checked and treated." "Yes, sir." On Nexara's surface, the scene was chaotic but hopeful. Human Marines had cleared all Kravik ground forces from the colony. Now those same Marines were helping rebuild. They lifted heavy debris that Nexarans could not move. They set up temporary shelters. They shared their food and water rations. Lieutenant Kyo Wu supervised the reconstruction of a damaged medical center. His strength made the work easy. A Nexaran engineer worked beside him, amazed at the humans' capabilities. "You lifted that beam by yourself," the engineer said. "It weighs more than 5 of my people combined." Kyo Wu shrugged. "Earth's gravity is stronger. We're built heavier and stronger to handle it. What seems heavy to you feels normal to us. And you can survive injuries that would kill us? We heal fast, yes. Earth was not kind to weak creatures. Only the tough survived long enough to have children." He paused in his work. "But being tough does not mean being cruel. We choose to use our strength to help others." News of the human victory spread across the colony. Refugees who had been terrified of the Deathworlders began to see them differently. Yes, humans were strong and dangerous, but they were also kind, patient, and protective. They had come when called. They had saved lives. They had won a battle that seemed impossible. Private Miraday sat with a group of Nexaran children in a shelter. They were scared and traumatized by the invasion. She told them stories about Earth, about mountains and oceans, about cities and forests. She made them laugh with tales of Earth animals, of dogs and cats and elephants. "Are all humans like you?" one child asked. "We're all different," Mira replied. "But most of us try to be good. We've seen too much war in our history. We know what it costs. That's why we fight now. To protect others from that pain." Captain Han Te received a communication from Prefect Ilian. The colony leader's face showed exhaustion and relief. "Captain, on behalf of all Nexara, thank you. You saved us. We did not believe it was possible, but you did it. We did what we came to do, Prefect. Your people are safe. The Kravik will not return. I must admit, we feared you almost as much as we feared the Kravik. The stories we heard about humans, about Deathworlders. We thought you would be monsters." Han Te's expression was understanding. "We are not monsters. We are simply the children of a harsh world. Earth made us strong because weakness meant death. But we chose to be more than just strong. We chose to be protectors." Ilian bowed deeply, a gesture of profound respect in his culture. "The galaxy will hear of this. You have changed everything." As night fell on Nexara, the human fleet maintained orbit. On the ground, Marines kept watch over the refugees. In the medical centers, human doctors worked alongside alien healers. The integration was awkward sometimes, but it worked. The galaxy had called for help. Humanity's Deathworlder fleet had answered. And in 18 hours, they had proven that sometimes the most dangerous beings can also be the most noble. The emergency session of the Galactic Council began with silence. Every representative watched the footage from Nexara play across the main display. They saw human ships charging through weapons fire without slowing. They saw Marines moving across the battlefield with terrifying efficiency. They saw the Kravik fleet, which had terrorized the outer colonies for months, destroyed in less than a day. Councillor Velm was the first to speak, his voice shaking. "This is what we have invited into our space. Beings capable of such violence, such destruction. We should be terrified. They saved millions of lives," High Magistrate Thur countered. "Because we chose peace. We evolved beyond such barbarism." Ambassador Hanarin stood calmly. "May I speak, Magistrate?" Thur nodded. The chamber fell silent again. Every eye turned to the human representative. "I understand your fear," Hana began. "What you saw was shocking. Humans are effective in combat, but you do not understand why. You see violence and assume we are monsters. Let me explain what you really saw." She activated her own display. An image of Earth appeared, rotating slowly. It was a beautiful world of blue oceans and green continents. But the data beside it told a different story. Earth. Class 12. Deathworld. Gravity. 1G. Most of you come from worlds with 0.4 to 0.7 G. Our children grow up lifting more weight with every step than your strongest adults can manage. By the time we are grown, our bones are dense, our muscles are powerful, not because we chose it, but because our world demanded it. She changed the image to show Earth's atmosphere. Oxygen content, 21%. Many of you breathe thin atmospheres, with 5 to 10% oxygen. Our air would be toxic to some of you, too rich and corrosive. We evolved to process high oxygen levels because Earth's plant life produces it constantly. This gives us energy and endurance you cannot match. More images followed. Hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis. The council members watched in horror as Earth's fury was displayed. Our world tried to kill us every day, Hana continued. Storms that could destroy cities, ground that splits open without warning, mountains that explode with fire. And we survived. We adapted. We became tough because anything less meant extinction. Dr. Jin Nari, the chief medical officer from the Indomitable, joined Hana. He brought up biological diagrams. Human biology is redundant by your standards. We have 2 kidneys when one would work, 2 lungs. Our blood can clot quickly to stop bleeding. Our bones can heal from breaks. Our immune system fights millions of diseases. We evolved these features because injury was common on Earth. He showed footage of a human Marine who had been wounded in the Nexara battle. The injury would have killed most species. But the human was already healing. We have something called adrenaline. In danger, our bodies release chemicals that make us faster, stronger, and less sensitive to pain. It is a survival mechanism. We can push our bodies beyond normal limits when needed. Counselor Velm interrupted. This only proves our point. You are built for violence. You are predators. We are persistence hunters, Jin Nari corrected. Our ancestors chased prey for hours or even days until the animal collapsed from exhaustion. We did not have claws or fangs or venom. We had endurance and intelligence. We worked in groups, planned strategies, used tools. Yes, we hunted. But we also cared for our sick, raised our children together, and created art. We were always more than just hunters. Captain Han Te appeared on the communication screen, transmitted from orbit above Nexara. Council members, I want you to understand something important. Yes, humans are effective warriors. Yes, we come from a harsh world. But we did not come to Nexara to conquer. We came to protect. He showed footage from the ground. Human Marines helping rebuild homes. Private Mira Day, treating wounded civilians. Lieutenant Kyo Wu, lifting debris to free trapped refugees. Soldiers sharing their food with hungry children. We have known war, Han Te said quietly. For thousands of years, humans fought each other. We had countless conflicts, brutal and terrible. We destroyed our own cities. We killed millions of our own people. And we learned from that pain. We learned that war should be the last option. We learned that strength, without compassion, is just cruelty. Ambassador Hana Rin took over again. You call us Deathworlders, and you are right. But understand what that means. We did not choose to be born on a harsh world. We did not ask for high gravity or dangerous weather or predators hunting us. We adapted because we had no choice. And yes, that adaptation made us formidable. She paused, letting her words sink in. But we also developed something else. Empathy, cooperation, the ability to see others suffering and want to help. Because on Earth, working together was how we survived. Protecting the weak made our species stronger. These values are as much a part of us as our physical strength. Prefect Ilian of Nexara appeared on another screen. May I speak? Please, Magistrate Thur said. I feared the humans when they arrived, Ilian admitted. The stories we had heard made them sound like monsters. But I have spent 3 days with them now. I have watched them work alongside my people. I have seen their kindness. Yes, they are strong. Yes, they can fight like nothing we have ever seen. But they choose to use that strength to protect, not to harm. He showed footage of human Marines playing with Nexaran children, teaching them games from Earth. These are not monsters. These are people who understand suffering and choose to prevent it. The council chamber was quiet. Many representatives looked thoughtful. The fear was still there, but understanding was beginning to grow. A small counselor from an aquatic species spoke up. What if humanity decides to turn against us? What if they choose conquest instead of protection? We would be helpless. Hana Rin met the counselor's eyes. That is a risk you take with any powerful ally. But consider this. We could have conquered Earth's nations many times in our history. The strong could have enslaved the weak. Instead, we built democracies. We created laws. We chose cooperation. Not because we were weak, but because we learned it was better. She gestured to the images still displayed. We are showing you everything about ourselves. Our strengths, our history, our capabilities. We are not hiding what we can do. We are being honest because we want partnership, not dominance. High Magistrate Thur stood. I have made my decision. Humanity will be offered full military partnership in the Galactic Defense Initiative. They will help us build a fleet capable of protecting all our worlds. But this will be a partnership, not a command. Human and alien working together. Velm protested, but his voice was weaker now. Other counselors were nodding in agreement. The vote will be held tomorrow, Thur announced. But I believe the council will agree. We need humanity. Not just their strength, but their experience. They have known war and chosen peace. They can teach us to defend ourselves while keeping our values. As the session ended, Ambassador Hana Rin walked to the observation deck. She looked out at the stars, thinking about her species' journey. From caves to starships. From tribes to civilizations. From warriors to protectors. Captain Han Tae's voice came through her communicator. How did it go? Better than expected, she replied. They are beginning to understand. We are not just Deathworlders. We are their guardians. And if they reject us, Hana smiled slightly. Then we continue anyway. 6 months had passed since the Battle of Nexara. The Galactic Defense Initiative training facility orbited a neutral moon. A massive station built by combined efforts of dozens of species. Inside, the future of galactic security was being forged. Trainee Officer Ven stood in the training room, breathing hard. His species came from a low-gravity world with a thin atmosphere. The room was set to 0, 8G, a compromise between human standard and what most aliens could tolerate. For Ven, it felt like wearing a mountain. Again, Captain Hante said firmly but not unkindly. Ven wanted to quit. His body ached, his muscles burned. But he had volunteered for this program. His people had almost been destroyed by the Kravik. He would not give up. He picked up the practice weapon again. It felt impossibly heavy. He moved through the combat drill. Each step an effort. Han Tae watched carefully, offering corrections and encouragement. Better, the captain said when Ven finished. You are learning. I will never be as strong as a human. Ven gasped. That is true, Han Tae agreed. But you do not need to be. Your people have other strengths, better sensors, faster calculation, different perspectives. We are not trying to make you human. We are trying to teach you to survive. Commander Sol Yuna entered the training room with several other alien officers. They represented different species, each struggling with their own challenges in the program. Some could not handle the gravity. Others found the combat tactics too aggressive. But all were determined. Briefing in 10 minutes, Sol Yuna announced. We have a situation. The training facility's command center filled quickly. Ambassador Hana Rin appeared on the main screen from the Galactic Council chambers. Behind her, High Magistrate Thur looked grave. The Kravik have attacked again, Hana announced. A mining colony in the outer reach. This time, we will respond with the combined fleet. Captain Han Tae studied the tactical display. How many ships do we have ready? 15 human warships, Sol Yuna reported. And 23 alien vessels. The alien ships have human tactical advisors aboard. It was the first real test of the new system. Human military doctrine combined with alien technology and unique capabilities. On paper, it should work. In reality, they were about to find out. The combined fleet assembled near the training station. Human ships, dark and armored, floated alongside elegant alien vessels. The contrast was striking, but inside each ship, human and alien crew members worked together. Trainee Officer Ven was assigned to a patrol ship, serving as a sensor operator. His enhanced perception would be crucial for detecting threats. Beside him sat a human tactical officer named Ray. Nervous? Ray asked. Terrified, Ven admitted. I have only been training for 6 months. I was terrified my first combat mission too, Ray said. But you know what helps? Remember why we are here. People need us. That is bigger than fear. The fleet jumped to faster than light travel. When they emerged near the outer reach, they found the Kravik fleet already engaged with the colony's minimal defenses. Warlord Krothax commanded the attack personally, determined to prove that the defeat at Nexera was a fluke. All ships, battle formation, Captain Hante ordered. Alien vessels, maintain defensive screen. Human ships, prepare breakthrough assault. Execute. The human warships accelerated forward, just as they had at Nexara. But this time, the alien ships moved with them. They stayed back slightly, using their superior sensors to feed targeting data to the human vessels. It was coordination, not just power. Ven's hands flew across his controls. His species-enhanced perception picked up energy signatures that human sensors might have missed. Contact. Kravik ambush wing. Vector 7-3 Mark II. Ray instantly relayed the information to the fleet. Human ships adjusted their approach, avoiding the trap. Alien vessels moved to intercept the ambush wing, with support from human escorts. Good work, Ven, Ray said with a smile. Warlord Krathax watched the battle unfold and felt a chill run through him. The humans were still terrifying in combat, their ships smashing through his lines with brutal efficiency. But now, they had allies. The aliens he had once dismissed as weak were coordinating with the humans, creating a force that covered each other's weaknesses. They are learning, his tactical officer said with fear in his voice. The humans are teaching them. A Kravik boarding party tried to take one of the alien patrol ships. Lieutenant Kyowu's Marines responded immediately, jumping across space in their powered armor. The fight was brief and decisive. But what surprised the Kravik was that alien soldiers fought alongside the humans. They were not as strong or as tough, but they were brave and determined. The battle lasted 4 hours. The combined fleet lost 2 ships, both damaged, but with all crew rescued. The Kravik fleet lost more than 40 vessels. The mining colony was saved, but something unexpected happened as the Kravik began to retreat. A message came through to the human flagship. Warlord Krothax wanted to speak with Ambassador Hana Rin. The conversation was tense. Krathax appeared on the screen, his alien features showing exhaustion and something else. Respect. Human ambassador, your fleet has defeated us twice now. We are not fools. We know we cannot win. Then why do you keep attacking? Hana asked. Because we know nothing else. The Kravik have been warriors for 10,000 years. We conquered because no one stopped us. But you stopped us. You showed us strength, greater than ours. Hana studied the warlord carefully. What are you saying? We respect strength. You have proven yours. We would talk of terms. Not surrender, but negotiation. The strong speak to the strong as equals. It was unprecedented. The Kravik had never negotiated before. But they had never faced real opposition before either. Over the following weeks, talks began. The Kravik would stop their expansion. They would return conquered territories. In exchange, they would be given representation in the Galactic Council and help developing their worlds peacefully. It was not perfect, but it was progress. 3 months later, a great ceremony was held on Velthara Prime. Representatives from every member species gathered. At the center stood Ambassador Hana Rin, Captain Han Te, and several other humans who had led the defense efforts. High Magistrate Thur raised his speaking staff. Today, we recognize those who saved us. Humanity, you came when we called. You fought when we could not. You protected the weak and defeated the strong. We name you defenders of the galactic peace. The ceremony included honors, speeches, and celebrations. But for Hana, the most important moment came afterward. She stood with Prefect Ilian of Nexara, Trainee Officer Ven, Warlord Krathax, and Counselor Velm. Velm, who had once feared and opposed humanity, approached Hana directly. I was wrong about your people. I saw only the danger and missed the nobility. I apologize. Apology accepted, Hana said sincerely. Fear is natural. Understanding takes time. Ven smiled at her. I graduated from the training program. I am now a full tactical officer. Humans taught me that strength is not just physical. It is also mental and moral. Even Krathax bowed his head slightly. My people have much to learn about peace. But we are willing to try. Humanity showed us that true strength includes knowing when not to fight. That evening, Captain Han Te stood in the observation deck of the Indomitable, watching Earth from orbit. The fleet had returned home for resupply and rest. His crew had earned it. Commander Sol Yuna joined him. How do you feel? We changed the galaxy. We did what we had to do, Han Te replied. Earth made us strong. Our history taught us to be kind. Now we have a purpose beyond ourselves. Do you think it will last? The peace. Han Te thought carefully before answering. Peace is not a destination. It is a constant effort. There will be new threats, new challenges. But now, the galaxy knows it can defend itself. Not just because of human strength, but because we all work together. Sol Yuna nodded. The Deathworlders and their friends. Yes, and that is stronger than any weapon. Far away, on Nexara, Private Mira Day played with the same group of children she had met during the invasion. They were laughing now, happy and safe. One child asked her a question. Will you stay? Will humans always protect us? Mira knelt down to the child's level and smiled. We will always answer when friends call for help. That is the promise Earth makes. We are strong, so that others do not have to be afraid. The child hugged her, and Mira felt the weight of that promise. Humanity had come to the stars, carrying the strength of a harsh world and the compassion of a long history. They had been called Deathworlders, monsters, dangers, but they had proven to be something else entirely. They were guardians. And they would stand watch over the galaxy, not because they had to, but because they chose to. That choice, more than any weapon or armor, was what made humanity truly powerful. The stars shone bright over Earth, and among them, humanity's ships kept their eternal vigil. The Deathworlders had found their place in the universe, not as conquerors, but as protectors, and the galaxy was safer because of it.